Jai Sriman Narayan. I pay my obeisances to my spiritual master, Srimad Jagadguru Sudarshan Acharya Shyam Ramanuj. I pay my obeisances to Lord Sri Ramanuj. I pay my obeisances to Mother Lakshmi. And I pay my obeisances to Lord Sriman Narayan. I welcome all of you here physically at the Sri Narayan Dham in Durban, South Africa. And I welcome all of you watching this discourse on live feed locally, nationally, and internationally. And I welcome in advance those that's going to be watching this discourse when it is posted in the various groups from around the world. Our topic for discussion, the Bhagavad Gita, the essence of Sanatan Dharma. I'm going to start off with a question. How many of you had the experience of having in your possession a counterfeit 100 Rand or 200 Rand, even 10 Rand or 20 Rand? Fake. Counterfeit means fake notes. How many of you are walking in town and somebody said, "Come here one side, I have a genuine perfume for you, top brand," and on it you see a label 599 Rand, and it tells you you can have it for 200 Rand, and you say, "I only got 100 Rand," and you buy it for 100 Rand. How many of you had that experience? Be honest during a satsang and put your hands up. Alright? And then when you came home and you sprayed the perfume, it only lasted from the point of the nozzle to the surface of your body and disappeared. Because even the 100 Rand you paid was too much. It cost 5 Rand. You experienced that? How many of you experienced people selling on the street genuine gold, 22 carat ring, 22 carat necklace, 22 carat chain? And you saw the price, and you know the price of 22 carat gold, 1,000 Rand, 2,000 Rand, and you paid 200 Rand. You brought him down from 1,000 Rand to 200 Rand. He was not happy when you brought him down. And then on your way home, you thought you hit a luck. And after a few showers, the gold disappeared. Well, had that experience? When you realized that what you bought was not true, how did you feel? Cheated? You did not feel good? And you were not happy. So last week I made a bold statement. I said only the purport of the Bhagavad Gita, the true, original, genuine, authentic purport of the Bhagavad Gita is by Lord Sri Ramanuj. The only authentic, genuine, original, true purport of the Bhagavad Gita is by Lord Sri Ramanuj. And many people in the world is now feeling cheated. Because many gurus said their Bhagavad Gita is really as it, and it isn't. It is not. So how do you confirm that the 200 Rand note in your possession is a counterfeit? There must be a process of confirmation. There must be a process of confirmation. It's called the watermark. How do you confirm the gold, beautiful gold ring you paid 100 Rand is fake gold? You do a gold test. You take it to a jeweler, he'll dip it in a chemical, and the chemical will turn a certain color, you know? And how do you test that only Sri Ramanuj's commentary on the Bhagavad Gita is true, authentic, as spoken by Lord Sri Krishna? Sorry? Yes, and how? After reading it. Cross-reference it to who?
The other scriptures.
And who is speaking the Bhagavad Gita? So he will endorse whether the purport is Vishishtadvaita, whether the purport is Dvaita, or whether the purport is Advaita. Who will do that? The speaker himself, Lord Sri Krishna. So Lord Sri Krishna, he himself in the Bhagavad Gita will tell you which philosophy he is endorsing. And in this Bhagavad Gita, spoken by Lord Sri Krishna, as it really, in red, capital letter, REALL, as it really is, Lord Sri Krishna expounds Vishishtadvaita. And he endorses that Lord Sri Ramanuj's purport of the Bhagavad Gita is really true. So you think the Guru is causing dissent in Sanatan Dharma by stating that Advaita and Dvaita are counterfeit philosophies. What does the government do when there is counterfeit money in circulation? What does the government do when there's counterfeit money in circulation? Government destroys it. Why? Although it is spinning the economy, remember counterfeit money don't come in the note that you have and few hundred people, it comes in millions of notes. And what does these notes do? It spins the economy, does it not? Yes, it spins. So on one hand, whilst it is spinning the economy, on the other hand, the government does not want counterfeit notes in its system. Why? It's called inflation. It inflates the economy with untruths. That is not the value of the rand. For every rand that is in circulation, there's a proportion of gold in the Reserve Bank, is it not? For every rand that's in circulation, there is a proportion of gold in the Reserve Bank. Similarly, for Vishishtadvaita philosophy, there is a proportion of that philosophy where who is the origin of Vishishtadvaita? Lord Narayan. Lord Narayan. Who speaks the Vedas? Lord Narayan. Who compiles the Vedas? Lord Narayan as Vedavyas. Who enacts the Vedas? Lord Narayan as Lord Sri Krishna, Lord Sri Ram. So a proportion of Lord Narayan is invested in every atom of Vishishtadvaita. Do you understand? And if there is no difference between Lord Narayan, Vishishtadvaita, Lord Sri Krishna and Bhagavad Gita, then if there is any other interpretation other than that by the speaker and source itself, Lord Narayan is the source of Lord Sri Krishna, and Lord Sri Krishna is the source of the Bhagavad Gita. If there is a contradictory philosophy to Lord Sri Krishna himself in the Bhagavad Gita, then that philosophy has no spiritual merit. It has no spiritual merit, like the counterfeit rand has no ounce of gold in its proportion in the Reserve Bank. Does the counterfeit rand float for a long time? Yes, it floats until it is destroyed. Similarly, counterfeit philosophies floats around the universe for a long time until it is destroyed. You think counterfeit philosophies should be destroyed and refuted? Why? It has no value. It is deluding who? Mankind. It is deluding mankind. Are we together up to this point? All of us, are we together? If you want to know who God is, who you must ask? Bhaya, who you must ask? You must ask God. Who you must ask? How do you know how to source what God said? You must research and find out in which scripture did God speak as himself. In which scripture did God speak as himself? Did he speak as himself? Yes or no? Yes? So you must go to the Bhagavad Gita where God spoke himself and ask him who he is. You think in here there is a verse where he will show mankind who he is? You think if God came down and spoke the Bhagavad Gita, is it his right to tell mankind who he really is? Yes, he must tell man who he really is. And he uses the excuse of Arjuna to ask all the questions that man must ask and is confused. You think Arjuna was really confused? He played the part of confused man so that when he asks his question, mankind as a whole gets enlightened by the answers. Because God is absolute and He will create the absolute system for you to receive the absolute answer. God is absolute. The system He has created is absolute, and the answer from which you will obtain must be absolute. Because with God there's no relative truth. There's no gray areas. There is no gray areas. 1 plus 1 is equal to, that's it. No one, God did not give anyone the right to change His injunctions. If anyone changes what God has stated, then he becomes superior to God. Isn't logic? If somebody changes what God has said, then is that person now has to become superior to God. And it is for this reason that God breathed. The Vedas is God's breath. The Vedas is God's breath. Then to compile His breath so that mankind, the Vedas is eternal. Eternal means what? It's always there. The Vedas is also infinite. Infinite means what? Knowledge. Vedas mean knowledge. And knowledge is infinite. It means there is no end to knowledge. But for the benefit of man, that same Lord Narayan who breathes the knowledge is His breath. He did not trust any man to compile the Vedas for him. Why? Man is prone to mistakes. God's breath is absolute. His knowledge is absolute. And to confirm the absoluteness in writing, He incarnates as Vedavyas at the end of every Dwapara Yuga. He collates all the knowledge that is necessary for man, and he compiles them into 4 Vedas. The Vedas itself, each Veda, what are the 4 Vedas? It starts with the Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, and Atharva Veda. There are 4 Vedas. These 4 Vedas itself is split into 4. The 4 parts are the Samhitas, the Brahmanas, the Aryanakas, and the Upanishads. Each Vedas has Samhitas, Brahmanas, Aryanakas, and Upanishads. The Samhitas and the Brahmanas teach you how to perform rituals and how you can live in this material universe successfully. The Aryanakas and the Upanishads teach you the futility
of rituals. Because rituals and the benefits from rituals is perishable. It is perishable. You get a kilogram of gold today, tomorrow it will be gone. It is transitory. It is here and it is not here. So when man gets tired of performing rituals and asking for things that have a limit, then he is diverted to the Aryanakas. And from the Aryanakas he goes to the Upanishads. Upanishads mean come sit near. And when you're ready for the Upanishads, you must come and sit near a guru. But when you come and sit near a guru, you must sit with a open mind and clean heart. Mind must be open, heart must be clean. You saw some people sitting right very near the guru. Now you don't see them anymore. Because the mind was inverted. The bucket of the mind was upside down, Umishkar. And if you take a bucket and place it upside down and take a hose pipe and try to fill that bucket, what will happen? Because the heart was dirty. Clean heart, upright bucket. So you must sit in a satsang with an open mind and you must say, I know nothing. As soon as you know something, then what happens to the bucket? It gets inverted. And when the bucket gets inverted, whatever the guru is telling you goes where? Over the bucket. You can come and sit for 1,000 satsang here. As long as you know, information cannot enter. Only when you don't know, then you can know. Do you understand? All of you understand? Only when you don't know, then you can know. As long as you know, that is why many people, I've had over 1,000 devotees, they're not here today. Because they knew. But I don't see them as gurus. Because if they knew, we should have had 1,000 ashrams open today, isn't it? But I don't see them as gurus. I see them back in the path, back in their old ways. Because they knew. So rule number one, when you go to a guru, mind must be empty, heart must be, those two work in synchrony. They two work in synchrony. Because a guru's job is only to enlighten you, nothing else. Only to enlighten you. Other things is a lollipop. Guru gives you other things as a school teacher that will give a naughty child lollipop. So if you want a car, Guru will grace you with a car like a lollipop, so that you can listen to the Guru's teachings. If you want a promotion, Guru will allow you that promotion or grace you with that promotion so that you can listen to the Guru's teachings. If you don't treat the Guru's grace as lollipops, and if you only come here for lollipops, then you'll fail the exam. Don't come for lollipops. Lollipops is secondary. Guru uses the lollipop as a crutch to stabilize you into assimilating, understanding his teachings. Do not come here for lollipops. Guru's lollipops are almost finished. There is a few. Alright? Guru only gives lollipops in his first 5 years. Why? So the Guru gets known through his lollipops. Guru gets known through his lollipops. Hey, I was unemployed for 10 years. I went to the Guru's satsang. Now I got such a good job. Then, who that person said that to will come to the Guru. Hey, I couldn't get married for 20 years. Now I got such a handsome husband. Who that person said that to will bring other people to satsang, and the Guru gets known through his lollipops. But the Guru's function is not to give you lollipops. Guru must give you knowledge. Guru must give you knowledge. And it is the knowledge that will burn away your karmas. And when your karmas are burnt, you become divine human beings. You understand? So you think, both here in this audience and the international audience, that when we preach the absolute truth, we are not segmenting Sanatan Dharma, we are consolidating Sanatan Dharma. For Sanatan Dharma is the only truth in this universe. Sanatan Dharma is in a state of confusion because of the counterfeit philosophies. And it is the right of every Vaishnavite Guru to refute and destroy counterfeit philosophies by presenting in the satsang around the world the Vishishtadvaita philosophy. The Ram and Sita story should be there during Ram Nomi. And the Radha Krishna story should be there during Krishna Janma Astami. But the rest of the discourses should be Vishishtadvaita and nothing else. Because these false philosophies have now taken growth into the Western world. And the West now is subsisting on the Advaita and the Dvaita philosophies, thinking that it is the truth. So as I've stated, if you want to know who God is, Bhaya, where you will find it? In a scripture that God has spoken. Is it common sense? Is it common sense that if you want to know who God is, that you'll find it in the scripture that God has spoken from? Isn't logic and common sense? Alright? You don't need degrees to find God. All you need is logic and common sense, not just sense. The sense is too high. Alright? You need common sense and logic. So if you want to know who God is, you find out in which scripture God spoke. When you find out that scripture in which God spoke, it's a Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita only has 700 verses. In that 700 verses, Arjuna asks Lord Sri Krishna to show him his divine form. In the 700 verses, Arjuna asks God to show him two forms, his universal form and his divine form. So in his universal form, he shows him the universe with his thousands of mouths and thousands of hands and thousands of legs. And in his divine form, he shows him his Narayan form. So if you want, which form you think God will be? In the human form, universal form, or divine form? Again, we'll use common sense. The ultimate reality will be divine. Isn't common sense, logic? God's ultimate form will be his divine form. So if Lord Sri Krishna showed Arjuna his Narayan form, so who is Lord Sri Krishna an incarnation of? Lord Narayan. Is Acharya Ji saying this? Is Lord Sri Ramanuj saying this? Who is saying this? Lord Sri Krishna, the incarnation in self. So there is no reason for any confusion in Sanatan Dharma on who the Supreme Personality of Godhead is. Is there any reason for any confusion? Because the scripture spoken by God when he incarnated 5,000 years ago, he showed Arjuna that he is an incarnation of Lord Sriman Narayan. Is that understood? So if there is anyone or any philosophy that is saying that someone else is God, what happens with Lord Sri Krishna's declaration that he is an incarnation of Lord Narayan? What happens to those philosophies that state otherwise? Becomes fake, isn't? Who makes those other philosophies fake? Acharya Ji? Lord Sri Ramanuj? Who? Lord Sri Krishna himself. Are you understanding? If you want to know the absolute truth, and this is why God did not allow man to write his absolute truth. He wrote it himself. Because man has a tendency to cheat. Man has a tendency to cheat. Anyone who did not present the Bhagavad Gita as spoken by Lord Sri Krishna is a cheater. All of you follow? Because God knows that man is prone to mistakes, he is in illusion, and he is a cheater, God compiled the Bhagavad Gita himself. This Bhagavad Gita is written by who? Vedavyas, which is embedded in the Mahabharata. This Bhagavad Gita is embedded in the Mahabharata. The Mahabharata is written by Vedavyas, and Vedavyas is the incarnation of Lord Sriman Narayan. So there is no cheating. There is no cheating, and the only philosophy that is expounded here is Vishishtadvaita. The only philosophy that is expounded here is Vishishtadvaita. So I'm going to go to that verse. Who knows where we stopped on Thursday? Natasha, no lollipops if you spontaneously give me the verse, or if you give me the verse first. No? Okay. But I still want you to remember there might be a subtle lollipop. Subtle? Chapter? Chapter 2, verse 12. And this is Lord Sri Krishna speaking, and he is consoling the depression of Arjuna. He is consoling the depression of Arjuna by doing what? When somebody is depressed, what must you do? You must tell that person the absolute truth. When a person is in depression, the medication for depression is absolute truth. And Lord Sri Krishna is showing, because you can see at this point in the battle of Kurukshetra, he sits down, he throws his bow and arrow one side. Now he does not want to fight because he is confused, because in fighting the enemy is his own family, his own gurus, his own teachers, his own friends. So now he does not want to fight, he is depressed, he is also perplexed. Perplexed means totally confused. He does not know what to do. Yet before this point, he was advising. Who was he advising? He was advising Lord Sri Krishna. Isn't? 4 or 5 verses he was telling Lord Sri Krishna and advising Lord Sri Krishna, like most of you do. You come here for advice, but you finish off advising the Guru. And when you advise the Guru, you go back with nothing, because you get perplexed. So after advising God, Lord Sri Krishna realized that now he cannot make a move. Then he says, I now am your disciple. So similarly, those of you, if you all finish advise the Guru, you are ready to become disciples. All of you, whoever is here, you all finish become the Guru. You all finish advise the Guru. When you are ready to become a disciple, then the Guru's message will enter you. As long as you are here to advise the Guru, nothing will go inside and you'll be perplexed. Can you see the relevance, Bhaya, of Bhagavad Gita 5,000 years ago and Bhagavad Gita today? You ever thought the Bhagavad Gita would be relevant in your life? Yes, Bhagavad Gita is relevant today, and after your soul leaves this body, your soul is eternal, the Bhagavad Gita will still be relevant. Because the Bhagavad Gita is eternally relevant. It is eternally relevant. 5,000 years ago it was in Kurukshetra. Today where's the Kurukshetra? In your mind, in your family, in your friend, and in your place of work. Wherever you move, the battle of Kurukshetra is raging and you are perplexed. Every day you have to be still for a while to see how you're going to tackle that day. Sometimes you have to be still in every hour because you don't know how to tackle each hour. That's how relevant the Bhagavad Gita is today. So let us see in verse 12. There never was a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor any of these kings of men, nor will there be any time in future when all of us shall cease to be. Immediately on this verse, immediately from this verse is spoken by whom? Lord Sri Krishna. And every if you call yourself a Hindu, then you have to endorse the Bhagavad Gita and all its every verse, because God is absolute. You cannot choose from the 700 verses. Dana, 5 verses that suit you. Dana, you cannot choose from the 700 verses 5 that suit you. So there are philosophers who chose from the Bhagavad Gita, and this verse incinerates the philosophy of Advaita. In the philosophy of Advaita by Sri Shankar Acharya, he states that the soul and God is one. What is Lord Sri Krishna stating? Let's read this verse again. There never was a time when I did not exist. I means who? Lord Sri Krishna. And he is Lord Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Know you. Who is know you? Arjuna. Know any of these kings of men. Meaning, whoever was at Kurukshetra at that point in time. Then he qualifies and he says, nor will there be any time in the future when all of us shall cease to be. What does that mean? It means God will be God and the souls will be souls. They were always souls. They are souls at this point when God is speaking, and they'll continue to be souls when? Right up to eternality. That means they will never merge into God. And the Advaita philosophy is that all the souls are like drops of water. After liberation, you merge into God. If after liberation the souls merge into God, don't you think in this verse Lord Sri Krishna would have qualified, as long as you are an embodied soul, we will be different, but as soon as you liberate, you will merge into me. Don't you think God will have that, and He'll give you that understanding when He's speaking in the Bhagavad Gita now? You think He will leave it for some guru to come and make this qualification later? Lord Sri Krishna spoke this Bhagavad Gita 5,000 years ago. In the year 800, Adi Shankara Acharya stated that all the souls after liberation merge into God. So there is no merging. There is no merging. The souls will always be souls. If you are in the embodied state in the material universe, you will still be individual souls. When you are liberated, you will still be individual souls. So that philosophy of Advaita, which is very, very prevalent in the Western world, has now been refuted with qualification. Refuted with qualification and debunked with qualification from whom? Lord Sri Krishna Himself. Are there any questions? Are there any questions? Chris, you got any questions? Chris will only say the boss is too clever. Every day and in everything, the boss is too clever. You think he's right? Yes. Because boss knows Vishishtadvaita. And if you know Vishishtadvaita, you know everything. Are there any questions? Kumishka?
No, but I'd like to say something, Guruji, if you don't mind.
It must be related.
Yeah, it's actually related to life and karma and everything. So on Friday, my brother brought in his report home, and he didn't do so well. So my mother scolded him, and out of, I think, love for my brother, I started fighting with my mother. And because of that, she stopped speaking to me. And Lawrence even stopped speaking to me because of that. And I got so angry. I got so angry. I got very, very angry. And then, Guruji, when I saw you at my home yesterday, I remembered the things that you said to me about anger and about karma before. And I went and I went to my mother and I went to Lawrence and I told him, and I'm sorry. And, because I realized that when you're angry, your whole body changes and, it's not nice. And also they say that sometimes your mother's feet is is like heaven itself. So I went and I said sorry to my mother, and then she got a bit emotional, and then eventually she started laughing and joking with me. So karma is also a very important thing, I feel, as well. As human beings, we should also respect each other in any way. Not only your mother, your husband, you should respect everybody around you.
Okay. So for those of you that do not know, exactly 4 Sundays ago, I showed this girl her anger problem. And I told her where anger will take her. And the beauty of the system is that it is a process. It is a never-ending process. And a month later, when her anger flared up, she remembered the Guru's teachings. Alright? And this is why Gurus leave everything in their life to teach. This is why Gurus sacrifice their entire life to teach. Because yesterday there was happiness in one home. Anger brought sadness. The Guru's teachings brought happiness. And if this happiness can reach every home, in every corner of the globe, Guru will never have to take rebirth. But that is impossible. So the Guru will be born life after life after life. But the Guru does not measure his greatness by how many homes he brought happiness in. If he could bring happiness in one home, his life's mission is complete. You understand? So I want you to take the lead from Umishka. She is my second nuclear bomb that I have defused. My other nuclear bomb is in hospital now, about to give birth. Right? Somehow God is sending me these Brahma astras, these nuclear weapons in the form of ladies. Alright? And somehow I have the expertise to defuse these bombs. Alright? So here's my second success story in the nuclear division. Okay? My other devotee was about to give birth. I think a month ago, when I attacked you, she confessed that she's 6 months almost anger-free. And her husband is the happiest man on earth. And if you ask him how great Acharya Ji is, he will tell you even greater than Lord Narayan. Okay? And this is what I would like to hear. I want to keep my congregation small. Because if my congregation is small, it will have quality. If it is big, it will have quantity. And in quantity, it is very difficult to insert quality. So I want to keep it small. That is why this hall is this size. So I can relate. Because if Umishka came to the satsang, when there were 200 people here, Guru would not have been able to log on to her temperament. There would have been too much of consciousness. I wouldn't have known which lady is angry. Alright? But here, because the satsang is small, I only saw fire around her. Her anger was in flames. Alright? And I could assist her. Are there any other questions? Amita?
Can you, sorry to ask the same question, can you explain the Vishishtadvaita philosophy again?
Okay, Vishishtadvaita means that all the souls is an attribute of God. What does attribute mean? Characteristic of, it is a mode of God. It is inseparable from God. It cannot exist on its own. Material nature is an attribute of God. It is inseparable from God. It cannot act on its own. The wind cannot blow if it is not willed by God. And material and wind is material nature. The sun cannot shine if it is not willed by God. And the sun is material nature. You understand? So, Vishishtadvaita means that both individual souls and material nature is embodied within God. Which means there is nothing but God. There is nothing but God. Vishishtadvaita also means that God enters into every soul. God enters into every individual soul and into every atom of material nature. Which means there is no space in this universe where God is not pervading. There is no space in this universe where God is not pervading. Alright? So God is everywhere. And everyone wants to look for God. Everyone wants to look for God. Look anywhere, you'll see God. Look anywhere, you'll see God. Because God pervades every atom of material nature, and He also is the indweller of every soul. Which means that the soul, every individual soul becomes the body of God. And God also becomes the body of every soul. What a beautiful philosophy. What a beautiful philosophy because it's the absolute truth. Can you imagine anything that can be separate from God? If anything is separate from God, then God cannot be absolute. Then there are two entities. And if there is two entities, how can God be absolute? Can God be absolute if there's another entity? Any other questions? Dana? Boya? No, you won't come back to sing anymore, Boya. This is your last singing life. You'll be singing in Vaikuntha. And yes, they are Tamil. God understands Tamil. Any other questions? Now, embrace this philosophy of Vishishtadvaita. Okay? If you simply embrace this philosophy of Vishishtadvaita, when you pick up this book, it doesn't matter whether it's a Bhagavad Gita or your test exam paper. How many of you are in school? Put your hands up. Don't fry it. Hands up. Higher, higher, Avikar. High. Yes. When you pick up the exam paper, every atom of the paper is Lord Narayan. In every atom of the paper is Lord Narayan. He is the question in your question paper. And He is the answer in your soul. Isn't He? Is the question in your question paper is also the answer in your soul. And if you are a pure devotee of Lord Narayan, don't you think He'll synthesize the question with the answer, because there is no difference between the question and the answer. Both are Lord Narayan. But for that to happen, you must be a bona fide devotee of Lord Narayan. Lord Narayan exists in everyone. But He only awakens to those who acknowledge His existence in them. Do you understand? So Lord Narayan is in every living entity, but He is relaxed on His couch also. So it is your duty to make Him work. And tell Him, Lord Narayan, since time immemorial, you've been relaxing in my soul. Put Mother Lakshmi busy pressing your feet. I caught you. I surrender to you. I surrender to you, Lord Narayan, for you exist inside me and you exist outside me. You exist everywhere, but you have been in hiding. My Guru showed me all the places you hide. From today, you can never hide anywhere. When I'm sleeping, you with me. When I get up, you with me. When I'm in the bathroom, you with me. When I'm on my way to work, you with me. When I'm angry, you with me. When I apologize, you with me. Wherever I am, you are. Now get up from that relaxing position and serve me, for I have surrendered to you. Jai Sriman Narayan. Every saint has a past, and every sinner has a future.